Okay, Lisa, we're live.
Okay.
Welcome everybody to Wall Street Reporter's next Super Stock live stream, February 24th, 2021. We are back with Reliq, RQHTF, over-the-counter RHT in Canada. Lisa, welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back.
Lisa, a very exciting day today. For the stock, I think from an investor's perspective, is that you have this. You just announced your third contract, third deal in I think about 30 days.
Yeah, no, this is definitely going to be our breakout year. I think I said that to him, and it's still very much true. Definitely, the pandemic was a very slow year for businesses in this sphere, other than the basic telemedicine virtual visit companies. But now that the vaccine's rolling out, there's just huge growth in the space, and certainly in our business. And this is really just the beginning.
So I want to go today. With the format for today is we're going to do because we haven't seen the slide deck yet. Today's the official. We're going to tell the official story. Then we'll go back to audience Q&A in about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. We'll go Q. But I think it's very important. I want to really talk to you about that. This real kind of an inflection point right now where you're really the company's. I think the message is that when you have 3 deals announced like this in 30 days. It shows that there's real traction starting to happen. So it's an exciting time, for investors to take a look at a stock like this. So, all right. So for anybody that's just joining the next Super Stock live stream, what this is about is bringing you those stocks which have that 10x to 100x upside potential. We've already seen a number of them in the past, 18 months. We had a stock that's up 50x in the last 4 months. It was at Empower. So from a nickel to $2.50. Lisa, you have to catch up to this now.
Yes, that's right. That's my goal.
We need
the new leader for your business.
We need the first 100x. So we need a 100x stock. The companies that we're focusing on they have 3 things in common. They're going after massive market opportunities. They're at a key inflection point, and there's multiple catalysts in place to unleash shareholder value. And I think Reliq fits all checks off all 3 of those boxes. I think especially that inflection point at this time. So with that being said, please watch the presentation. After we're done, please ask Lisa your questions and then decide for yourself if Reliq is going to be that next super stock, that 10x to 100x winner. So Lisa, let me get your presentation up on the screen and we'll get started. Okay, here we go. Okay, full slide. Okay. Okay, Lisa, it's on the screen, so I will disappear and I'll see you when you're done. Okay, take it away.
Great. Thanks very much, Jack. So as Jack said, my name's Lisa Crossley, and I'm the CEO of Reliq Health Technologies. We're a digital health technology company, and we're a global company, but our primary market with customers is in the US. And I'll provide a brief overview of the company and our technology and go-to-market strategy in this presentation. Standard forward-looking disclaimer here. You can read that at your leisure after Jack has posted this on his website. So we are a Canadian company. We're headquartered just outside of Toronto, but we have offices in Texas and Florida. Those are 2 of our largest client bases are in particular South Texas and Florida. But over the last year, we've really been expanding across the US such that we now have clients who have operations in all 48 of the contiguous states, as well as in Puerto Rico. We also have a small presence in Canada and in Australia. And our business targets the $100 billion virtual care and chronic disease management market. It's a very large market. It's also a very rapidly growing market at the moment as the population ages and grows. A little bit about our team. For myself, this is the 4th company that I've run as CEO, the first publicly traded company, but I was in management at a publicly traded company in Boston early on in my career. We actually had our IPO while I was there in the summer of 2000. I ran all of our global biomanufacturing efforts. We had a highly successful IPO, and then ultimately the company was taken private again through an acquisition by Shire Pharmaceuticals for $6 billion. My first company privately held, sold to Millipore Corporation, which is a multinational, multi-billion-dollar company, and it's based in the US, and was later acquired by Merck. And then most recently, I sold VitalHub Corporation to a group in Canada who had just exited another company called MedWorks. I've raised well over 60 million in venture capital and angel financing from primarily US investors, including D.E. Shaw Ventures in Cupertino, California, and a number of the Boston angel groups. My technical team, Rob and Lucas and Basma, are very well qualified, very experienced, literally decades of experience each in the space, with a particular focus on healthcare. So they've been able to really help us take the company and our technology platform to the level it's at now, where we're capable of supporting millions of patients simultaneously. And we recently, relatively recently, brought on our CFO about a little over a year ago. Matt has a lot of experience in working with companies like ours who do the bulk of our business south of the border. So that's been very helpful to us. In conjunction with bringing Matt on, we also switched auditors and moved to KPMG. I think it's really critical for the company that we're working with one of the big four as we contemplate things in the future, like a NASDAQ listing, which we hope will happen early next year. And our Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Joyce Johnson, is based just outside of Chicago, and she's really been invaluable in helping us to not only understand the clinical workflows around chronic disease, but in particular to navigate some of the complexities of Medicare and Medicaid. So the context for our business. In the developed nations, so Canada, the US, most of Europe, the chronic disease patient population accounts for roughly 20% of the total population. So about 20% of the population has chronic diseases like kidney disease, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, which is also known as COPD, hypertension or high blood pressure, diabetes, and congestive heart failure. But that 20% of the population accounts for over 80% of healthcare spending. So it's a very big disconnect between the number of people and the size of that expenditure. So in the US alone, last year, roughly 18% of GDP went to paying healthcare costs for chronic disease patients. And these patients are expensive because they experience a lot of preventable complications, and those complications result in hospital stays, ER visits, ICU admissions, very costly settings for care, and very disruptive to the patient and their family having to be admitted to hospital with these relatively frequent complications. And the reason that those patients experience preventable complications is because they're responsible on a day-to-day basis for managing their own complex chronic diseases in the home. So you've got a patient who's maybe 75 and might be dealing with high blood pressure, diabetes, and congestive heart failure or kidney disease. These are really complex chronic conditions, and it's very difficult for them to manage those on their own, to remember to take their vitals consistently, to remember what are the warning signs, and remember to contact their clinical care team if they show any of those warning signs. And we know that less than 50% of this population takes their medication as prescribed. So that alone has a really significant impact on health outcomes for these patients. And CMS, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, recognized that this is a key problem that's driving healthcare spending for them. And so about 5 years ago, they started a significant change in the way that they compensate healthcare providers. So they moved away from the conventional fee-for-service model, where a doctor will make more money the more often he sees a patient or she sees a patient, and to a value-based payment model. So essentially, healthcare providers are now incented, they're compensated for keeping patients out of the hospital and for preventing a lot of these preventable complications. So it was actually incredibly progressive, and I think a lot of us in healthcare had been waiting for that sort of sea change away from fee-for-service and towards value-based payment. We didn't necessarily expect it would come from CMS, but it did. And over the last 2 to 3 years, Medicare and Medicaid have really proven to themselves, they've validated that model, that providing a more proactive approach to healthcare and investing upfront in compensating healthcare providers for preventing hospitalizations results in a very significant downstream change. So a significant improvement in health outcomes and a corresponding decrease in healthcare spending. And that's really been enabling for our business. So our platform, We're a cloud-based software as a service, and essentially what happens is that a patient will be prescribed remote patient monitoring, let's say that's one of our modules, by their healthcare provider. The provider will prescribe the relevant monitoring equipment, so pardon me. For a diabetic, that would be a glucose meter. It might also include, for a congestive heart failure patient, a scale and a blood pressure cuff. For a COPD patient, it would be a spirometer that they can blow into. And the patient will be enrolled in our system. And essentially, every time the patient captures their vital signs using that equipment, we collect the data either via cellular or over conventional internet access enabled by Bluetooth. And that data is immediately uploaded to the cloud. And then we deliver real-time alerts to the clinical care team. So, for example, with a congestive heart failure patient, we know that a sudden 2-pound weight gain in 24 hours indicates they might be going into heart failure. And so if the physician can change the prescription for their diuretic medication or potentially change their cardiac meds, you can keep that patient healthy and at home indefinitely. If you wait until the patient recognizes the symptoms of increasing fluid, so that would be a feeling of pressure in the chest, chest pain, difficulty breathing, they're typically looking at an ICU stay, and perhaps more to the point, and they've typically done permanent damage to the heart. So not only are they going to spend a week to 3 weeks in the hospital and cost the healthcare system hundreds of thousands of dollars, they're also going to come out in a little bit worse health than before the episode occurred. So if you can catch these destabilizations or exacerbations early in the home, you can have a really significant, frankly, profound impact on health outcomes for these patients and also definitely on healthcare costs. And our platform supports a number of modules. So remote patient monitoring is one of them. There's also some others that are kind of technical, but chronic care management is a way for family doctors to kind of get reimbursement for basically reviewing patient data over the course of a month. They have to spend 20 minutes a month on that, and that can include updating their care plan. And we also have basic telemedicine, so that's kind of a commodity in the space now, but that's the virtual visits, much like we're doing right now, but HIPAA compliant. And we also offer transitional care management, which is for patients who've been discharged from skilled nursing facilities, and behavioral health integration. And behavioral health integration is really coordinating care between different members of a patient's clinical care team, like a social worker, a psychiatrist, an addictions counselor, a family doctor, and for patients who have either mental health issues or addiction issues. And that's unfortunately extremely relevant today. So that's a module that we're seeing more and more clinical providers asking us for. So this slide just shows what a physician would see when they, or a home health agency or skilled nursing facility case manager, when they log onto the system from their end. So they'll be able to see all of their patients in this dashboard format. They can click on a patient to actually drill down into trends. So, I just got an alert that this patient has very high blood pressure today. I'm going to log on and check medication compliance and what their blood pressure has been for the last month. So I can see, has the blood pressure been steadily creeping up and we need to do something, or is this a one-day spike and it looks like they forgot to take their medication, which is easily resolved. So it helps physicians and other healthcare providers really triage those chronic condition patients and ensure that the ones who need attention receive it, and do so at an early enough stage that the response doesn't have to be go right to your nearest ER, but an intervention that actually will help keep them healthy and at home. I won't dwell on this slide, but we have a secure cloud-based platform. It's HIPAA compliant, which is obviously critical in the healthcare space. It's very secure. We use industry standard or gold standard encryption protocols. It's also inherently scalable. So it was built from the ground up to work with literally millions of patients on the platform simultaneously. And so it gives us a lot of room for growth. It's also highly interoperable. So we really can plug and play with any medical device that's out there. So, we're hardware agnostic, we say, whether that's, an iHealth glucose meter or a Withings blood pressure cuff or a Fitbit or a Garmin or an Apple Watch, or even a kidney dialysis machine that's used in the home, or a CPAP machine that's used for sleep apnea patients. So really, we plug and play with 99% of what's out there, and that gives our clinical customers a lot of options when they decide they want to roll the platform out in terms of what devices they prefer to have their patients use. Our business model. So we charge a subscription fee based on the number of patients on the platform. It's a per month subscription fee, but it's not paid by the patient. So we're charging between $25 and $100 per patient per month. Currently, our average revenue per patient is $40 but we expect per patient per month. But we expect that that will increase over the rest of this year as we provide more of our case management services to clients, and also as clients add more modules. So we are finding that, where we started the business in 2017 and 2018, the only billing codes available from Medicare and Medicaid, there was only one from Medicare, was for remote patient monitoring. But over the last 5 years, they've added a significant number. There's now over a dozen billing codes that cover our services. And so we've introduced new modules to work within that framework. And most of our clients have their patients on multiple modules. So we expect that average revenue per user of $40 per patient per month to increase as we move forward. Our clients are skilled nursing facilities, physician practices, home health agencies, and we are paid by the clients. So we send monthly invoices and they pay us based on the number of patients and based on the number of modules those patients are using. And the clinicians receive payment from Medicare and Medicaid or private insurers. And the overall market for this space, our total addressable market, is currently that 37 million Medicare and Medicaid patients who have 2 or more chronic diseases. But the private insurers who are starting to get on board with this kind of approach to healthcare represent more than another 37 million patients. It's a very, very large, very rapidly growing market, currently valued at about 100 billion US, but lots of room for growth there. And so just to kind of drill down a little bit more around the financial incentives for clinicians, certainly for patients and their families and for clinicians, there's obvious clinical benefits. A typical chronic disease patient population, 20% of them would end up in hospital at least once in any given year. And with iUGO Care, we're able to reduce that hospitalization rate to under 1%. So it's a really significant difference between taking that proactive technology approach to healthcare and taking the kind of rescue approach that we've had more traditionally in healthcare. So for patients, we reduce hospitalizations, improve health outcomes. We see a significant increase in patient satisfaction. And so patients and their families are very, very happy to use the platform. They really appreciate that there's a safety net there for them now that wasn't there before. And they tend to be much better about taking their medications and collecting their vitals and making other lifestyle changes when they have that accountability, when they know that their data is being monitored and that they are going to have to, ultimately have a reckoning with the physician if they're not doing what they're supposed to do. And we've also found that patients really appreciate that, they can go back and look at trends over time in their own data and say, that month that my son bought me that exercise bike, my blood pressure has been much better ever since then. And so it really does engage and empower patients very uniquely. And that alone is one of the most significant predictors of improved health outcomes in patients. So for the clinicians, their motivation is Medicare and Medicaid have introduced penalties. So if your patients have preventable hospitalizations, whether you're a skilled nursing facility whose patients are being readmitted or a physician or home health agency, Medicare and Medicaid can actually claw back a percentage of the payments they've made to you during the year. So there's definitely a stick there that's incenting physicians, but the carrot is Medicare and Medicaid determined that by investing $100 billion a year in this upstream proactive approach to healthcare, they can potentially save up to $1 trillion a year going forward. And they've validated that over the last 2 to 3 years. So they've increased the number of billing codes available and also the total payment for those billing codes. So when we started, when Medicare first introduced RPM in 2018, the total that a physician or home health agency or skilled nursing facility could receive in reimbursement was around $59 per patient per month. And that's increased to over $315 per patient per month. So that's a completely new revenue stream for a physician who introduces this kind of a virtual care platform. And Medicare and Medicaid say that the average physician practice can generate an additional $500,000 to $1 million in revenue per year by employing this kind of proactive technology-enabled approach to care. And it's basically pure profit. I mean, we're taking roughly $40 out of that, $315 a month. And so it's a very financially compelling business case for the clinical care providers. And it's a relatively new one. So, the billing codes have increased in both number and the actual amount of money that they're, pardon me, this is my voice today, the actual amount of revenue potential. But certainly, this year, there's a lot of pull in the market for our platform that wasn't there even a year and a half, 2 years ago, because those billing codes have increased so substantively. I won't dwell too much on this, but our customer base is primarily in the U.S. We work with a number of large skilled nursing facility networks, as well as with networks of physician practices and home health agencies. In Australia, we've deployed a unique product of ours called Ayugo Well, which is an app-based product, and it's focused on kind of the younger end of the spectrum, patients or rather individuals who are typically fairly healthy. And it's really a physical wellness and mental well-being app. And so that's something that the University of Notre Dame in Australia is using for their 10,000 students and faculty and staff. But it's something that will be certainly, I think, relevant in North America to employer-sponsored plans who are looking at employee wellness options. Our growth forecast, so as Jack has highlighted, this is definitely our breakout year. This is our inflection point right now. And we expect that next quarter will be profitable, and that by the end of this year, we'll grow to 11 million in revenue. And by the end of the year, we will have reached the critical scale at which we achieve our target gross margins and EBITDA margins. So we'll have gross margins over 75% and EBITDA margins over 45%, which is somewhat typical in the SaaS space, but not necessarily typical in healthcare. So very compelling margins from that perspective. Next year, with listing, we expect to have at least 32 million in revenue. And we'll continue to see that very, very rapid growth year over year going forward. If you look at companies like Livongo, which was acquired by Teladoc last year. At the time, they were doing about 240 million in revenue, and they were acquired for 18.5 billion at a point where they were still operating at a loss. So, if you want to do the math on that, that's 77 times revenue. And there's sort of no number you can use to calculate because they were at negative EBITDA at the time. But so their EBITDA multiple obviously would have been much higher if they'd had a positive EBITDA. But the multiples in this space are certainly very compelling. There's a trend towards consolidation in this industry as in every other. But even for companies that are not being acquired but are publicly listed, there's definitely significant value assigned to healthcare technology companies, because I think not just the capital markets, but the market as a whole, including our customers, really recognize that this technology-enabled approach to healthcare, where you're really focused upstream and everything's not about just putting out the fires when they happen, but actually preventing them in the first place, is really the future of healthcare. And the last slide I have, I'm definitely not going to spend a lot of time on. I actually think it's a little bit out of date. I've got to update that, but this is just a little bit about some of our share metrics, so you're welcome to review that at your leisure. We have a few warrants outstanding from the last private placement, but not a lot, and not what I would consider hugely substantive. And management and other insiders are definitely key players, key shareholders in this business. I myself have put a lot of my own money into the business because I really believe in what we're doing. I think the company will do very well, but I also think we're going to do a lot of good. So, there's a there's very few opportunities in your career to be part of something that really contributes to society at the same time that it, delivers shareholder value. So I think that this is a very unique opportunity, and we're all very, very proud to be part of it. So I'm happy to answer any questions you may have, Jack. I can stop sharing.
Okay, Lisa, can you hear me, see me?
I'm trying to stop sharing and my computer's not cooperating. There we go.
Okay, you see me and hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, okay, we got a bunch of questions coming in here. It looks like people are pumped up with the pace of deals coming in. So let's go to the first question here.
Okay.
What impact has the recent Texas weather had on onboarding patients?
Yeah.
Anyone currently, and is anyone using the IU? They need electricity to use this, right?
Yes. I mean, I will say that some of our more remote and rural patients often have generators. I've discovered that's something quite common in the remoter communities. It's definitely been tough for them. A lot of our, not even our patients, but a lot of our employees are in the Texas area, our implementation team have been without water and electricity, but they're soldiering on. I think definitely our patients are continuing to collect their vital signs. So, whether they use battery operated devices during that time, and we can do things and do things like have our call center temporarily step in and actually collect data over the phone. We also have our interactive voice recognition, our IVR product, so we can do automated calling to those patients. Obviously, if everything's down, landline, cellular, electricity, water, we just are in a holding pattern, but they are starting to come back. They've just had a tough time.
Okay, so Anthony's asking, are you full? I mean, right now, basically, you're at a point to scale, right? You're at this. So Anthony's asking, are you funded are you fully funded to scale from here?
Yes, so we expect to be profitable next quarter, at which point we'll be throwing off a fair bit of free cash to fund the business. We just did a private placement that closed at the beginning of December last year. So I think we're in a very good position moving forward. If we were to sign some unanticipatedly large contracts, which is certainly always a possibility, and we wanted to raise growth capital, we would do that, at the right time when we were at a higher valuation. But I think if we were to decide we wanted to raise, that would be very good news, because it would mean that we're expecting growth above and beyond what we already forecast. But it's not something we're contemplating at the moment.
Okay. We get a bunch of variations on this question. What makes you different from what else is on the market? So if you want to maybe give us like a spreadsheet.
Yeah. So essentially in the market, I won't say competitors, because there is really no direct head-to-head competitor. If you look at the clients that we've acquired, like iDocsWeb and Digimed in Puerto Rico, they came to us, including the one we just announced in California, after doing global searches for a company that had what they needed. So we have a very comprehensive suite of services. Our software is, very powerful, but we also built the platform specifically for the community market. So most of what's been developed to date, like Vivify or Philips or TELUS, their remote patient monitoring platforms, were developed for hospitals to use post-discharge on patients. But those platforms have to fully integrate with the hospital's electronic medical record systems. So they're very complex, and they require a hospital IT team of dozens to hundreds of developers to support the implementation and ongoing support and maintenance. And they're very expensive. They're millions of dollars up front and millions of dollars a year. And that just won't work in the community space. People in the community, the physician practices, skilled nursing facilities, home health, don't have an IT team. So they cannot deploy that complex software. So we have very complicated technology, very complex technology, but not from the user's perspective. So for both the patients and for physicians, we have a very, very simple user interface. It's very robust. You don't have to worry about downtime. It's going to take you 5 minutes to learn to use it. And that's very different from what's conventionally been built in healthcare, because historically the budget was always in the hospital space. The competitors we actually see in the market are smaller kind of mom and pop shops who've built their own RPM or chronic care management platforms. They tend to have either been built by doctors, so they have great clinical workflow but a terrible technical experience, or they were built by developers, so they have great technical experience but terrible clinical workflows. And we usually are able to displace those vendors quite quickly. We haven't come up against anybody in the market who offers everything we do, and that's why these larger clients are coming to us. I mean, most of the big clients we've gotten, not that we don't do our own business development and secure contracts that way, but a lot of these groups have come directly to us, despite the fact that we're a relatively small Canadian company, because we do have, and we are the first movers in this space in terms of the community care space. And we really built the platform specifically to support the unique use case of the community. And that's a huge market. I mean, you know, in terms of community care, basically, all chronic disease patients are receiving the bulk of their care in the community. But up until about 5 years ago, really nothing was being done with those patients. So we were the ones who kind of got out first and built something uniquely tailored to that patient population.
Okay. We got some more technical questions coming in. So Farron's asking, can you provide detail on how your software grabs data from the home devices, most of which use proprietary software?
Yeah. Yeah. So essentially, we use APIs, and we can, as I said, plug and play with most of what's out there through our middleware layer. We use, I saw they asked, we use, you know, message level encryption as well as, you know, standard encryption in the servers. I'm trying to think what else was in their question. So we connect to the devices either over internet. So if the patient's home has Wi-Fi, we connect via internet. A lot of the patients do not have conventional internet access. And so we actually use devices that have a little SIM card in them. And we collect the data over the cellular network. A lot of the patients that we work with, they're 75 or older. They may have visual acuity issues, maybe, you know, some cognitive issues. And so they are not going to learn how to use an app on a phone or a tablet or a computer interface. And so we actually have devices with these SIM cards in them, and they will talk to the patients. So it'll say, you know, it's time to collect your blood pressure, and they'll say it in whatever language is relevant to the patient. It's time to collect your blood pressure, please come over and put on the blood pressure cuff. The patient will do that, and then the data is immediately uploaded over the cellular network to our servers. And the patient, if they don't want to, you know, doesn't even have to know what their blood pressure was. They certainly don't have to record it themselves on paper, which is what they typically would do before they used our platform, or enter it manually through an app or a tablet or a computer. We know that this particular generation is not terribly tech savvy and not really interested in learning how to use a new app or a tablet or a computer interface. So we've really worked hard to build something that meets these patients where they are, but still delivers the full experience of having that kind of virtual nurse in the home with you.
Okay. Yes, it's a very important, because I mean, you know, I'm not 70, and you know, I don't want to learn how to use apps. I mean,
yeah, no, I got my mother and my stepdad, who are both physicians, an Apple TV for Christmas a couple of years ago, and every time they want to use it, they call me and they're like, "How do I turn it on? Where do I find my program?" So lots of people are brilliant in many ways, but not great with technology, and we really, it's very important to meet patients where they are.
Right. So basically, so your technology is essentially it's easy to that's I think that's the biggest issue. Is like, is it something that's, you know, like, you know, simple?
Yeah, if you want to get compliance out of this patient population, you have to figure out exactly what works for them and do that. And that's part of why we developed, as we announced, I think last month, our interactive voice recognition platform. So if you're a patient who has a landline and that's as far as you're willing to go, then we can actually have these automated phone calls. We do them now in Spanish, English, and Russian, but they could be in any language. We have a large Russian population in Maryland, coincidentally enough. And so the call will actually go out to the patient's home. It'll ask them, you know, can you please check your blood pressure? Please read me what it says. They read it. It goes automatically. It's translated into that, you know, data that we need in the platform and uploaded to the platform. And then it can provide medication reminders. We also do medication reminders for patients who have memory issues and need a little bit more help through the You Go Home, either the pendant or the watch that they wear, and those will also provide, you know, geofencing. So if they leave the home, it'll trigger an alert to typically the family members, but if they're in a facility, to the facility staff, and then we'll allow them to track the patient so they can follow them. But we've really developed a technology that's a platform that's very flexible and that therefore allows us to serve patients in a wide variety of circumstances who have basically any kind of chronic clinical condition you can think of.
Okay, no, so it's very and so what was it, a few weeks ago you announced was it the contract with in California with it was like an Asian community, and so is that Chinese? I mean, does it like talk to
Uh,
them in Mandarin, or like how
yeah,
does that?
Korean,
Oh,
Chinese. It's
there's
there's
actually in LA. There's a very big Korean population.
there are 250,000 Korean Americans living in LA alone, and there's a large Korean American population in California. There's a large Asian American population, and
Yeah,
we've definitely found with uh, the elderly patients in that community that they really like to have all of their services delivered in their own language. It's just that much more comfortable.
everybody does.
Right, you wouldn't. We're one of the things that's really unique about our platform is that we can deliver our services in any language. So that was a really key selling feature for that particular contract. In a large group, they have 50 clinics and over 500 physicians. That translates to a lot of patients.
Wow. Okay. So that's question. So I guess I think maybe the question is,
Yeah.
do you have enough staff to for onboard?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that the pandemic, I begrudgingly give the pandemic some credit for is we had a year during which we could really focus on turning all of our training materials into virtual packages, so webinars and online. We have an online help service, Fresh Desk, that does a lot of customer support if anybody has any questions or needs additional training if they forget how to do something. So we don't actually need to be physically present to do onboarding, which definitely helps with COVID. The biggest obstacle for us right now is COVID, because if you are, for example, a skilled nursing facility and you have outbreaks in a number of your network and you have outbreaks in a number of your facilities, you're focused on keeping people alive. You are not worried about post-discharge care or any kind of proactive approach. And we certainly see that in South Texas, that a lot of the physicians have had to start working in the hospitals and in long-term care facilities just to keep people alive. So right now, we're in the business of preventing forest fires, but there's a massive forest fire raging. So a lot of our clients have to focus on that over the next few months while the vaccine rolls out. But by the end of June, once the vaccine's gone out to frontline healthcare workers and patients over 75, and that's where you're really going to see that rapid, explosive growth in the company. And we are definitely onboarding now. We onboard more patients every month compared to the previous month. But where you're going to see that really take off is in the second half of this year, once the vaccine has been deployed to some of these client populations.
Okay. Susan's asking a question with all the competition question. So with all the competition that's in the telehealth sector, do you see any impact to your subscriber services diminishing with Truveta? Who's Truveta? What's
I'm not sure off the top of my head who Truveta is, but there are a lot of players in the telehealth space. And what I would say is that most of them either have overly expensive, overly complex platforms that work really well with hospitals, but don't work very well in the community. Or they have, like a Livongo, very human resource intensive platforms. So they rely on a lot of coaching that's done by qualified healthcare professionals. So the business is more difficult to scale, and it's also much more costly because you have that much more human intervention. We designed a platform initially aimed primarily at Medicaid patients. So really the underserved communities that are on kind of the fringes and are very challenging to serve. So they're remote and rural. They don't have conventional internet access. These are patients who are living below the poverty level. And so a lot of challenges in that patient population. And we built a platform specifically for addressing those challenges. And really no other company has done that. Certainly our platform extends into the more conventional Medicare population or the private insurers, but we have probably the most cost-effective platform that's out there, and certainly the most powerful and most comprehensive.
okay? So it's very interesting. I think there's when people say telemedicine, it's not like
Yeah.
one or two companies are going to get the whole market. There's a lot of
Yeah.
niche areas in this. Like there must be 100 different niche areas. Like in
Yeah.
terms of language, communities, everybody has like a different thing.
It's a massive market. I mean, if you
Easy
look
to use, everybody, it's a lot of differentiation with everybody.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what's done in telehealth isn't even aimed at chronic disease patients. It's, doing these virtual visits. And we're very focused on, there's roughly 75 million chronic disease patients in total in the US. That's a big number, and it grows every year. Certainly the global number is even larger, and that's our primary focus. And we've gone to great lengths to design a platform that really works in the Medicare, Medicaid environment, because that's the most challenging environment. So, if you can make a profit there, you have a very compelling product when it comes to selling to the private insurers.
Okay. Good question. Can we get a demo at some point?
Yes.
Share.
Always happy to give Dwight Schrute a demo. Yes, you can definitely get a demo. I think you sign up on our website. Generally, that's how people would get it, but I can get one of my team to do a demo here on the program at some point.
Yeah, so we should do, like the next one, we should do like a screen share like you do with the slideshow. Whatever is on their screen, we'll happy to share. Okay, so let's wrap up. We're running a little bit behind, so I guess I'm gonna kind of close on this, which is the growth strategy. So you had a very interesting slide on the screen where, I think the last time I asked you, like, what is the path? Is there a path to be, a $1 billion company? And you actually had a slide that actually kind of laid out the path, which although I think it's going to happen quicker. It said 100 million. If you get to 100 million revenues, that will give you 10x. That's your $1 billion market cap.
Yeah, and I do think multiples in this space tend to be much higher. We tend to be very conservative in our financial projections. I think people look at valuation different ways, and so you're welcome to do your own modeling. But I think we'll get there much more quickly than we estimate in our more conventional projections. Our growth strategy is really, we have quite a few contracts. We've announced all of them. So obviously there's many more in the pipeline as well. But just in terms of the contracts that we already have, that we've already announced, that would get us to at least 11 million in revenue this year. The bulk of that growth, as I say, will come in the second half of the year when our clients are more free to focus on the proactive side of healthcare and not just saving lives and immediately saving lives. This does save lives over the long term. So our growth strategy is really, we have commitments from these clients, we have the contracts, and we know that based on just what we have currently announced, we can hit our revenue targets. But obviously, as you saw with the most recent contract that we announced with California, there's a lot of potential upside associated with our ongoing business development efforts. And we certainly, where we started with the business in 2017, 2018, we're focused on much smaller clients because that was who we could attract when we were a new entrant in the market. We now have 2 years, 3 years worth of clinical data that validates that our platform works and that it generates these improved health outcomes and reduced spending. And so we're now able to attract much, much larger clients and big networks of skilled nursing facilities and physician practices. So, our growth strategy is really taking advantage of that acceptance and that pull from that group and selling to the larger clients going forward.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. A lot of times people expect, a company, small cap company, they start and they're going to have immediate traction. Everything is going to go perfectly, and it never works that way. Usually it takes a few years to get the kinks out of this, and this is what happened like in the last couple. So at this point this is the inflection where you got the contracts coming in. So good time to get on board. I think, okay, so I made a couple of notes here. So a takeaway for me is, again, you're basically, we're starting to see the pace of deals. Three deals last 30 days. I think we're going to see more like that, I think. And you said that 11 million this year, 11 million revenues this year.
This calendar year, yes.
Calendar year, 2021, 11 million revenues. Okay, so, the market is, the market is not valuing companies at 10x. It's going like, 50. Yeah, the numbers are going crazy right now.
Yes, they are.
And especially if, essentially if the market sees the pace, kind of that pace of growth, that they see, acceleration of new contracts, you might get 50x, multiples. So next year you said you're going to be doing 32 million revenues, 22.
Yeah, conservatively we think 32.
Conservatively.
Yes.
Okay, so that's that could be $1.5 billion market cap next year.
It could be, you know, I never like to predict the market and how it's going to react to things. I've had in my career, you know, the biopharmaceutical company I was at, we had 9/11, which had a significant effect on the capital markets. This company's had the pandemic, but certainly I think that there's long-term fundamental value in this business. You know, we're not kind of taking advantage of you know, the sudden attention that healthcare got, especially virtual care got during the pandemic. This is something that has a long-term value proposition, and with Medicare and Medicaid and the private insurers really significantly increasing funding around these kinds of initiatives, there's a real business here that will certainly grow significantly for the next 3 to 5 years minimum. I think you're looking at essentially kind of explosive.
Yeah. No, so the value proposition, maybe just we'll close on this because this is like basically the sales pitch. So the value proposition is, I saw the numbers you had, like the population that you serve, 20% of them end up in the hospital, like a serious problem, right? Each year, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, that's expensive for the insurers, everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, typically these patients are seen in the ICU because they have complex chronic diseases. So it's hundreds of thousands of dollars when they go into the ICU. It's a huge expense. So we can reduce the average cost of care for one of these patients from anywhere between, you know, $25,000-$50,000 to $300,000 or more down to $2,000 to $4,000 a year. So it's a huge cost savings for the system, and it's really what especially Medicare and Medicaid need in order to be sustainable going forward.
Yeah, in terms of and with the numbers that you've seen, the percentage of patients that go into the hospital, you know, to the ICU with your, what's the percentage?
So we can reduce that 20% down to under 1%. And just a little intervention in the home, like a proactive technology platform, has very dramatic impacts on health outcomes. I cannot overstate that.
Okay, so that's a massive number, from 20% to 1%. So in other words, if you have 10,000 people in your system, that's, you know, 2,000 people going to the hospital at $50,000 a pop, or let's say $100,000 a pop. That I don't even know, the numbers are staggering, versus 100 people. So
exactly. That's why this is the future of healthcare. We have to do this. It's not, you know, a fun, nice thing to have, and you know, we put it in during the pandemic and then we, you know, stop doing it. Like it may happen with some of the just basic virtual visits, but this is something that we absolutely have to do, both to deliver better patient care and to keep, you know, the budgets available for healthcare for all of us.
Okay. We get a bunch of questions coming. We're kind of out of time. We're gonna have to catch up with everybody's questions in about 10 days, 2 weeks. Lisa, I'm gonna end on this. Is you know, what kind of news flow can we expect in the coming, let's say, 30 days? What else do you have in the pipeline? Can we have a situation of new deals announced? Do you have anything?
I mean, certainly, you know, I obviously can't announce news before we announce news, but, you know, we definitely are very active in our business development activities. And there's a lot of market pull for the platform that, you know, has really evolved over the last few years. And so we get a lot of inbound calls and a lot of inbound sales. So I think, you know, certainly we'll be keeping the market informed every time we sign a new contract or go live with a new client. And I think, you know, for me, running the business, one of the key milestones for us is that next quarter we'll hit profitability, and you know, from there it's just a basically free cash generating business, which is you know, very good place for a business to be.
Excellent. Okay. On that note, Lisa, thank you very much. We'll catch up on the next live stream.
Perfect. Okay. Thanks very much. Take care.
Thank you. All right, fantastic stuff. Companies at inflection points. Let's get ready for our next presenter. So today we're doing slideshows. This is slideshow day. Get you kind of the official story so you can see it on the page. Let me just set things up over here. Okay. Scott.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. How about you, Jack?
Fantastic, fantastic. I want to get set up here. I want to get our so we're at the same, okay, perfect, fantastic. What, are you growing a beard now?
A little bit, man. 3 young kids. This is how it works. You work all day.
Scott, so our previous presenter, she was talking about, they have a technology product, it's an app, and they deal with a lot of older people who don't know how to use the. I have this. I'm like, so I actually, because I had to set this up right now. I was wearing this on my head before, but I'm gonna wear it around. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this thing.
Yeah, I usually wear it.
I have it on. It's on. You can see it's glowing, right?
Yep, I usually wear it in mode right here, underneath the collar. No one knows except a little Iron Man glow. So there you go. There's lots of ways to wear it, whatever's comfortable.
And now, actually, and one thing, you're going to have other and we're talking before, you're going to have other form factors and everything to make it like, a necklace. Okay, so let me show. So basically, I just want this is okay. So hang on. Oh, my session ended. Hang on a second. I was going 2 hours. I started with 1. So I'll do a quick demo here. I'll do a quick demo. How do I get the camera? No, there we go. Okay, this is. I'm not used to doing demos. Okay, so I'm gonna do the Hapbee. There we go. The Hapbee is on. Is it on? Okay. So how do we go? Okay, so it's rolling. Okay.
And I'm on focus. Okay, I got 2 hours. You can choose up to 4 hours, but I chose focus for this because it keeps me on point the whole time. People love and focus in the sales world, executives, high charging business people. Those are the 2 they like.
I just realized this is because this is basically there is a way you can change the time. So basically, you can choose not an hour. You could do 4 hours. Okay, now I get again. Like I'm, before I told you, I mean, like I hate setting up apps. It took me years to set up the Uber. Like I was like, oh, I'm not doing this.
If you can do this, anybody can do this. But
exactly. I'm a good. What do you call it? I'm like if I could, I'm a good sort of what's the test case. Yeah. So Scott, we're gonna do the slideshow today, right? We're gonna get the official story out on the screen. We'll go to Q&A. I want to kind of get things queued up here. So if you're ready, you want to do the screen share?
Share screen?
Yep.
All right. Share screen. Let's see. Should I do the application window? Yeah?
Yeah, application window. Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Okay, so, here we go. And okay, I see your slides. Okay, perfect. Now, do you see me when your slide is open or no?
I don't see you. I see my slides right now.
Oh, okay. So I'll basically, so we'll do a quick intro. We'll go to the slides, and then I'll come back in when you're done. We'll have Q&A.
Okay.
Good?
Sounds
hang on. So let me just take this. Okay, can you see me now? You hear me?
I can see you if I go to the new screen. There you go.
You have 2. Okay. So we'll get ready. All right. So, okay. Welcome everybody to Wall Street Reporter's next Super Stock live stream, February 24th. We are back with HAPB Technologies, HAPBF over the counter, HAPB on the TSX. Again, this is one of these companies which fits into our model of stocks which have that 10x to 100x upside potential. So companies going after massive market opportunities, those multi-billion-dollar opportunities at a key inflection point and with multiple catalysts that can ignite that shareholder value. So with that said, I'm going to introduce you to I'm going to turn it over to Scott, the CEO, and he's going to show you the slides today. Today we're doing the slide format. We'll come back for Q&A right after he's done, and then please ask Scott your questions, and then decide for yourself if Hapbee is going to be our next super stock, 100-bagger stock. So Scott, with that said, take it away.
Sounds good. Okay. So I'm going to jump to my screen and just scroll down. Are we working? Is it working here if I scroll down? Does that work, Jack? I think it does work. Yeah. Okay, it's working. Okay, so I'm going to go through this at a good clip pace because I know that after we broke last week or the week before, a lot of questions started coming. How on earth are you doing this? I bought one already. My wife is using it all the time. I'm using it and I got to buy another one. There's a ton of questions on how the subscription model works, how the technology works. Most people want to know how the heck this thing happens and how it works because it's pretty revolutionary. So I have to get to the Q&A, Jack. I know we wanted to save a lot of time for that. Not to mention we have a lot of people in the market before we launched, even before we shipped our first product. We even had people that were like, there's no way this is possible. We've heard rumblings. YouTube videos coming out of the woodworks of skeptics saying there's no way, this is a scam. Well, when we finally broke our our blinded placebo-controlled studies, we haven't heard a peep. But we have to address that because everyone wants to know how the heck this thing works. So I'm going to go through this and then we'll open up to as much question for Q&A as we can, Jack. So thanks everybody for this. I'm going to go through the presentation. This is Hapbee right here, introducing Hapbee. All right. What this is, and you can see it around my neck. I'm actually wearing it under my shirt. There's a lot of ways you can wear this, but this is basically moods, sensations, and feelings on command at the touch of a button, okay? So this product, which I'm on the focus signal right now, there's 6 signals right now in the app, and we're launching more every couple of months, almost like the Netflix of feelings. That's our business model. And this is just the first form factor. This is like the clunky old iPod, okay, that Apple made. That was the first big one. We have a bed form factor that we're in the middle of making right now because one of our top signals used is the sleepy signal, which puts you in deep REM. It knocks you out at night. It's perfect to use before bed. But this thing around your neck when you're sleeping isn't the right form factor. So there's a lot of different types of products we want to put this technology into, okay? This is a platform technology. So this is Hapbee. Obviously, you got the sexy guy on the left. That's not me. That's a model who's connected to one of our marketing teams in LA. But we've been featured on a lot of different places since we got going. This is a very sticky product. It's an incredible model, but the science alone is so sticky. People do not forget about Hapbee the moment they hear about it, the moment they experience it for themselves. Our top members right now are using Hapbee 12 to 16 hours a day right now. We have very sticky usage in the app. It's on par with Netflix daily usage app numbers, which is amazing. Some people use it every few days. I don't use it every single day. I use it when I need help with sleep. If the kids are, up in the middle of the night, I'm up at 3 and my mind's going, I'll throw on the sleepy signal. If I need, to be on in the morning and I don't want to drink another cup of coffee, I throw on the alert signal because it replicates, it emulates 2 cups of coffee. Okay. If I want to de-stress at the end of the day, I put on calm or relax, or even the happy signal, which happy signal matches a couple of shots. Okay. It emulates the sensation of it. A little bit of giggles, a little flushed, you lose some inhibitions, but it's a lot of fun. That's a fan favorite. And then we have, like I said, the sleepy signal and more coming in the labs right now. We have 18 signals going through animal studies right now to see what's going to be next up into the app for all of our members. So think Netflix, but for feelings on command. So ultra low frequency, that is our goal. Here are the first 6 signals that you have. Hapbee, which gives you the feeling of, a couple shots, alert, a couple cups of coffee, focus. This one is more like, some people have said it's kind of like after a cigarette or a cigar, but obviously there's no drugs in your body. There's no nicotine anywhere. It just gives you that sort of dialed in buzz that you're looking for. Relax is a muscle relaxant. Calm is for your head, sort of like a de-stressor to check out. People watch Netflix shows and movies with this one all the time. And then sleepy, put it under your pillow, have a great night's sleep. A lot of our people track their aura stats and they have better deep REM. They reach it earlier in the night when they use their sleepy signal. This is all pure coincidence. I had to show this real quick. I got a message from my cousins this morning. My grandpa, if you can see him on here, I'll have to show this later because I know we're doing presentation mode, but his name is Barney Beeksma. He just had some surgery issues going on and he wasn't sleeping. He was sleeping terribly. His shoulders all having problems. He's 87. And if you can see on the screen, he's wearing Hapbee for the first time in weeks around his forehead. And they put him on the relax signal, which just melts your muscles down. And the text I got from Julie said, Papa reports the best night's sleep in a while due to the Hapbee relax signal. So those are the coolest things for me to see. And to experience with family, with friends, with the thousands and thousands of people already using our technology for their everyday life. Okay, So that is the product. We're not anti-drug. We just know that there can be issues when there's dependencies and addictions and side effects and problems with substances and pills and chemicals and prescriptions from all these people. Okay, we as a company, our mission is to help you choose how you want to feel better and better every single day using these very, very precise magnetic field signals that we get from our labs instead of, or in addition to, certain chemicals and substances you might take, okay? We are an add-on or a complement to these other things, all right? We don't claim that we can do everything that drugs can do. We don't make medical claims, but we can give you these sensations and feelings and moods on command, which we found is a huge benefit for a lot of people in the mental wellness space, which is growing leaps and bounds by billions and billions of dollars every week right now. Look at the Calm app. The Calm app just got valued at $2 billion, okay? And that's just an app with one signal, Calm. Look at this, that's one of our 6, and we've got many more coming. So this is a huge industry and we're excited to be a part of it. So this technology, I'm gonna get into the parent company and how we use this technology. We have the global license for the non-medical use of the tech for humans, but it's non-ionizing, it's not invasive, it's not thermal. These signals are being played onto my body like a magnetic field would on the Earth's surface. So if you see a magnetic field around the Earth, it's about 7-8 inches above, 7-8 inches below, and a couple inches outside. That is so it doesn't matter if it's here on your forehead or if it's around your neck, it does not matter. It's still delivering this very, very precise 24 million bits of information that comes from emulating and studying and analyzing certain molecules in our labs of interest, okay? So that is the technology. You can click it on at the touch of a button, 19 bucks a month, 15 if you pay for the year, or we have an upcharge and you never have to pay it again. And you use it for as long as you want. Again, some people use it for an hour a day. Some people use it for 10 minutes before bed. Some people use it 12 to 16 hours a day. That is our highest quadrant of users and our members. This thing is really sticky because it really helps people be healthy throughout their day, okay? This is great for people with recovery. This is great for people who are in high stress environments, veterans. We have some great things coming up that we get to share with the world soon with some things we're doing with veterans. The fitness space loves this. Counselors, psychologists, functional medicine, and biohackers. Even the older, the Gen X, or the baby boomer and older crowd loves this. Moms with kids who just graduated high school is like one of our top demographics here because they have the money and they love feeling good throughout the day without taking any substances in their body, okay? So you turn it off, it goes away 15 to 30 minutes afterwards. Here is a look at it close up. There's no substances you have to ingest, ultra low wavelength. We're talking the wavelengths that we're using are speaking the language of your body, and we are almost at the sound floor with the signals that we're giving your body at a cellular level. And we don't need a lot of noise to do this. In fact, we're in the category of good frequencies, good electromagnetic world, because what we're doing is we're helping your body feel better. We're helping you with sleep, helping you with memory, helping you with focus, or we have things that we're researching right now related to diet and hunger suppression and performance and memory and things like that. Look forward to new signals coming soon. But that's the goal here, is ultra low frequency, ultra safe. We have had 400,000 hours of playtime, 0 serious adverse events, 0. Okay, this thing is safe by as many respects as we can try. We've even done animal studies with long-term exposure, and we've done all the tissue and organ workup, and we're good to go. Very excited about that. Safety is one of our #1 concerns here. In fact, health is the ultimate goal of this. Mental wellness, physical wellness, that's the goal of Hapbee. So easily controlled. I know Jack jokes that downloading an app is annoying, but all of the top wearables in the world, from Apple Watches to Oura Ring tracking your sleep, to Whoop tracking my workouts and recovery score to constant glucose monitors and levels health. All these connect to an app. We're in the same space as the wearable industry, which is growing, again, leaps and bounds, just like the mental wellness space. So we are working on form factors that do not require that. So Jack, I'm sure you're happy about that one, and a lot of other people. It's just going to be a click. You click through what you want and off. That's coming as kind of like a 2.0 down the road for people, for more seniors and other folks that just don't really want to have the phone anywhere near them, or the small group of people in the world who just don't have a smartphone at all. So, okay, again, this is our first product. So if you don't like the speckles, and the people who helped do the Fitbit helped us with this, if you don't like it, well, we got other form factors coming very soon. So you have to think long-term and broad about what this platform technology can do for you. Okay, here's the app. I showed you this at the beginning of the call, but this companion app is what's going to be able to allow us to add more signals. We have this feature being unveiled to the world here in just a little bit. We can add new signals that go right onto your product that you can play right here through your subscription, just like Netflix. That's the beauty of having the app. It helps us with, seeing who uses what are our top signals. For those interested, Sleepy is our top used signal. Honestly, I think that that's because people have it as a good habit. Every night they turn it on, they put it under their pillow, or they wear it for 20 minutes while they take their makeup off, and it just basically just melts them. They start yawning, heavy eyes, they're ready for bed. So that's an easy use case. We also have a high focus and alert rate. Those are huge, but that's just because people like me keep it at their desk. They keep it in their backpack or their briefcase, their computer bag, and they use it every time they're working on something and need to focus. I just did a podcast the other day, and the woman, Sandy, she has a huge podcast following. She said that she uses Focus Signal, and she can knock out 4 hours of work in an hour, and she absolutely loves it. So that's the kind of thing those are our top signals right now that people use it for. Energy in the morning, productivity throughout the workday, de-stress, relaxation throughout and at the end of the day, and then sleep at night are like the 4 main categories right now. There are many more coming, but those are the top 4. Okay, so that's our app. How this works. All right, so we are using the technology. We're licensing this technology from Emulate Therapeutics, our parent company. They have over 32 patents related to this. They have 37 in total, 32 related to just our side for this ultra-low frequency technology. They've got over $70 million into this technology over the last 18 years. It was 15 years, but really the first 3 or 4 years, we're just trying to figure it out, okay? It has been under wraps for a long time, under NDA with certain partners. We're excited to be bringing this to the world. Now, the parent company, Emulate, which has invented this technology, the chief scientist of our parent company is Dr. Kenneth Ferguson, who led the team to invent Cialis, okay? He and a dozen other incredible scientists and doctors and PhDs helped bring this technology, this revolutionary technology to life. Their hypothesis was this: what if molecules that we put in our bodies every day when we eat and drink things, what if those have a signal? What if those have electrostatic surface potential? What if those have a wake when you put them in your body? That would explain how non-covalent bonds work, okay? And that was their main hypothesis. Einstein said this a long time ago. So could I get the effect of a couple cups of coffee and the ingredients in coffee and the molecules in coffee and the stimulants in coffee? Could I get that feeling through a frequency? Could I get that sensation and really a similar, very, very similar sensation? And that was their initial idea. And the only technology in the world that they had at their disposal in the mid-2000s when they started this was a technology used by the Navy called magnetometer technology. It's the world's most powerful frequency recording devices. The Navy used this for finding out where the nuclear subs were all throughout the Pacific, the nuclear Russian subs, because this has these devices, think of like a propane tank, they have a 2,000-mile radius to figure out exactly, to pinpoint where these subs are, and jet pilots and planes and other things, but they have a pulse, they have a electromagnetic pulse wave that these things could sense. So they took this technology, they pooled their money, and they worked on it for 3 or 4 years to, instead of looking outward, could you look internally at molecules of interest to see if they have a wake. It had to do with Faraday cages and liquid helium, and just an incredible group of scientists that brought this thing to the world. Well, not to the world, to life. The world didn't know about it until just a few years, 5, 6 years ago when this started to break. Basically, what they did is they ultimately got these signals that started coming out of the labs up in Seattle where the labs are held, okay? The first signal that our parent company went after was a signal for brain cancer chemotherapy called Taxol. It's an off-patent chemo drug, and their goal was to create a signal. It is still to this day. They're through FDA too. They've helped hundreds of people with brain tumors, was to mimic the effects of chemo onto your brain. If you could do that through a signal, a frequency, you wouldn't need to have it in your body and be killing you. And they've had incredible results so far. Hundreds of people that have gone through their FDA trials. I think they have one more pivotal to do. They have 6 peer-reviewed journal entries in CNS Oncology and all these peer-reviewed journals that are bolstering the technology and showing people this revolution. It's been so long in coming. I like when Jack and Wall Street Reporter said this. They said, we are at an inflection point right now because for 18 years, this technology has been building, and we get to stand on the shoulders of these scientists and these giants and bring it to the world. So where I come in is I'm an entrepreneur. I am not the inventor of the technology. I am the founder of the consumer side of the technology. Basically, the board of our parent company had said, we are looking into the consumer space, and I have a ton of other companies over the last 10 years serving millions of customers in consumer tech and apps, consumer goods, websites, funnels, marketing. I have 500 employees in my other businesses. I don't do any work with them. I just own them. And I am able to use resources and put this thing together. And so I invested in this company, the parent company, over 12 years ago. I gave them a lot of money because I believed in what they were doing to help people with cancer. I still do. And that's how I got connected to the company. And long story short, we partnered up a couple years ago. We launched Hapbee Technologies up in Canada and in the US. We went public on the Toronto Venture Exchange in October. And now we're listed in not just Frankfurt, Germany, but here, OTC. We actually just got a couple days ago eligibility for the DTC as well. So we are pretty expanded now to a large group of people, and it's starting to show, and we're really excited about that. So our job and our goal, like I've explained, is to find certain molecules of interest and find good signals to license from our parent company. We have the global exclusivity for the rights to these non-medical signals for humans. So all the signals that I've talked about, plus signals for diet, performance, memory, couples, and things for your body, and blood flow, and all these things that we are excited about. Motion, travel. Imagine putting a signal on that helps you when you're in the back of a car on a plane and helps you with the issues that come with that. So there's a lot of things we're looking at right now for what this technology can do. The basic product comes with the first 6 signals, and there's more coming every couple of months. So these signals are unique, 24 million data points for each signal. Really, we're just, our goal is to emulate what a cup of coffee would do in your body at a cellular level, to emulate what a couple shots would do at a bar with your friends, to emulate a sleep aid or a muscle relaxant, things like that in your body without any chemicals or substance and no toxicological side effects of digesting things. And that is a huge win, as we're starting to see. So our model has been direct to consumer. We are in the process of launching that now. We've sold over 3,000, almost 3,500 units now to the market without much marketing at all. In fact, we launched our, a soft campaign in 2020, right around when the pandemic hit. And our goal was to get about $50,000 in the door of sales just to see what our funnels would look like. and we sold over 500,000 US on that campaign. We were the #1 campaign on Indiegogo in that entire month. It was amazing. And so we're very excited about the funnels we're learning. We just launched our website 4 months ago, and we've been tweaking our funnel and increasing conversion rates ever since. We have partnered with, if people know Oura Ring, which is a great ring, I recommend it. The marketing team that helped bring Oura Ring to $250 million plus, whatever they're at right now. It's growing by the day, but that entire marketing team is now our marketing team as well. Same deal, same partnership. We've announced this a few months back. We're very excited about them. They've done an incredible job with our conversion funnels, our website, our advertising, and they are helping us grow and figure out a cost per acquisition that's low enough to where we can just explode that CAGR, the CAC, the consumer acquisition cost, okay? And so that has been in testing for the last 3.5 months. We are extremely close. We believe that in the next couple of months, as we launch this strategy, we'll be able to literally just copy and paste our ad spend. Right now, it's just a very little ad spend to see what sticks. But we have several campaigns that are in our threshold already. We're very excited about that. The other way that we're growing is developing partnerships. So we have a lot of brand partners and advisors. Dave Asprey, the founder of Bulletproof, has been a partner since the get-go. Jim Quick, the brain coach of the stars. Each of these guys have millions and millions of followers that have helped us get a lot of traction in the markets. We also are big in the fitness space. We're starting an affiliate program that has the first huge handful of people that are doing a great job. We have a higher conversion rate in the affiliate market. And so that is something we're going to be pursuing heavily over the next few quarters as we launch to the world our consumer strategy. But as you can see here, the global wearable technology market's $32 billion right now. It's growing at 16% a year. It'll be at $60+ billion by 2027. We are excited to be at the center of that growth. Yep, those are our main pillars below: our wellness market, developing personal connection with the customers, and great UI, user experience. User interface. I mentioned a few of these D2C e-commerce strategies already with our app and our tech stack. We have an incredible tech team on board. I've worked with these guys for over 9 years now. An amazing team of coders and developers and designers. We have the right people on the bus all the way up the chain. Now we're just ready to get the word out to the world. We have great partnerships like I talked about. We just launched, I believe, Kion and Ben Greenfield this morning. You can see that press release. They have another few million people that they have as their audience that they're going to get this out to. He's been using the product for months, loves it, excited for that. We also have a huge education program going on. We're doing tests right now in sleep, tests in memory, tests in alertness and cognitive function. And so there's a lot of partners in the background we're working with. I mentioned veterans and a few others we can announce more later on, but those are the main ways that we're growing, as well as podcasts, lives, campaigns, affiliate marketing, social media influence work. We're running all those right now. Last but not least, we have a great PR company, Super Connector, and a great Google SERP company that's helping us, Secret Digital. They're finding all the great reviews out there and they're helping highlight them in our Google rankings. And they're dealing with any questions or issues that are out there right now. We did have, when we launched our Indiegogo campaign a year ago, it was 6 months before we ever shipped a product, and we hadn't finished our blinded studies, and so the funnels were just seeing if people would buy the funnels, and they bought in droves. We've sold $500,000 worth on that campaign. But we had a lot of trolls come out of the woodworks. This is a scam. This is snake oil. This doesn't work. There's no way this is even possible. Well, we hadn't published most of our science yet, and so we even found out that a competitor, got these guys to make this and try to get a bunch of people against us before we even were out the gates. And so we've been able to overcome that, especially with our blinded placebo-controlled studies that came out 3.5 months after those trolls. Last February, and there hasn't been a peep really since then. Almost nothing since that happened. And so right now we're just going back and cleaning up some old rankings and searches, and frankly, we're going to be going after some of these people because we found out what they were paid to do. So yeah, we know that there's people out there that are skeptical, Our biggest thing is just try it out. You know, we have a 30-day money back guarantee for everybody. And we have given money back to people. I think it's a 5 to 7% return rate for people that just don't feel it, don't know what they feel. But most of the other people are loving it. You can see it from their usage stats. And those people, you know, we don't want them giving us bad reviews or anything. So we give them their money back. And some of them have even rebought once we're announcing new signals, because they're like, oh, I would love one for diet. I would love one for memory. I didn't realize. So our biggest issue is education. I think that's our number one obstacle, is educating the market. Right now, we're in a search for really, really good copywriting from a scientific journalist. That's one of our main things, as well as a head of growth. Those are things that we want to bring in to help bolster the education of our technology, because it is revolutionary. And so educating customers has been one of our biggest opportunities as we continue to grow and get the word out. We've got a great Facebook group with over 600 people in it that are members of the customers of our company that are always giving feedback. Hey, tweak this in the app. Please fix this. What do you guys think of this? Hey, I used this today. This worked. This didn't work. Can you tweak this? Can you give us a signal here? That's been invaluable feedback. We are customer facing to the max right now. I'm on the phone personally on Zoom with customers every other day, many people getting just feedback, front lines feedback. And that's what makes for $1 billion opportunity, is finding out how the customers use it, how to make it better for them. So a couple more slides and I'll be done. Sleeplessness is an emerging global epidemic right now. It is also just happens to be our top used signal. So 2/3 of Americans struggle to fall asleep at night. Expanding our platform into the bed-related form factor space is something we launched a month ago, and we're very excited. We're working with SillSync, a software-enabled product design firm in Arizona, to work on a magnetic field signal bed-related form factor. Imagine going to bed at night with our sleepy signal and another stronger one, getting some health for your body throughout the night while you're in deep REM, and then launching you out of bed with the alert signal before your alarm clock goes off, feeling like $1 million. That is a heck of a sleep form factor. So we're working on these mats right now. We'll be announcing them later on this year. That is already something that's gaining a ton of interest with our partners and our customers. Emulate, I already talked about Emulate, our parent company we have the global license for. Here's some of our animal studies. You know, mice don't have placebo. They can't fake it. Mice are mice. And so it was very cool to see our results with these different signals. And we tried, you know, a dozen different signals on these mice. We were able to see hyperactive, hypoactive, mild hypo and hyperactivity, somnolescence for some. It was very cool to see the animals respond just by having a pad underneath the cage that played these signals on the whole cage. And we even blinded our lab techs at this third-party CRO in San Diego. They didn't know which signals were on which cage, but obviously, as you guys would imagine, they guessed correctly at the end which were which. So that was very, very encouraging for us. We also did our beta results tests, our blinded placebo-controlled studies last year. Over almost 100%, actually 100% of our testers, 93 sessions, they were able to feel at least one, two or more signals that they liked. And we had 100% during our blinded test of, is it on, is it off, you don't know, and they have to guess. We also were 100% accurate in alert versus sleepy versus off, of relax versus focus versus on or off. So people can tell these signals are happening. I mean, I can tell these signals now in just a couple minutes what each one is, and so can most people on our team. Who, if you've used it for over a couple of months, you get very used to what the feelings are like right when you start to press play. But that was a huge pivotal point for us to say, hey, if people don't know what's happening and you press a signal, they can tell you if it works or not, and they can tell you which signal it is. The only ones that are tough to distinguish between, and I'll admit, relax and sleepy. One's a sleep aid, one's a muscle relaxant. That one's tough unless you've done it 100 times. So, but yeah, that's very encouraging results for us that we've been able to put out to the world and kind of shut down any sort of skepticism. And then again, our management team, myself and Herrick Laus, the CFO, Brian Mogan, PhD in brainwave, computational mathematics and brainwave mapping. He's perfect for this. Pat Murray, one of the best inventors I've ever met in my life. He's head of design and product dev. I trust him inherently. Our board, Chris Rivera, founder of Hyperion, over $1 billion company now. You can look him up, Hyperion. He's our chairman and also connected with CEO of the parent company. Charlie McNerney, Chief Information Security Officer at Expedia, as well as Microsoft right before that. Bill Gates' right-hand man. He's been so helpful in protecting our IP and setting up this whole interface with these new signals. As you can imagine, they are very protected. And then Rob Disiak, over a dozen companies plus, president of the Winnipeg Stock Exchange. He's helped us with the public markets so much. Mark Tim, 15 different companies. He runs Zig Ziglar's company and one of the largest Amazon fulfillment centers in the world. He is going to be huge for that launch later this year. And then Mike Matisic, tons of experience in public companies with CFO work. We have Javier. He works in the parent company right away. He is our go-to for signals, new signals, answering science questions. He works at Emulate up in Seattle, and he can be our go-to guy for Q&A. We have a ton of testimonials and strategic partnerships, which I've already mentioned. There's about over 100 testimonials and videos already on the website, hapbee.com/review, HAPBEE.com/reviews. People are loving this thing. Share structure is the last one, and then I'll throw it over to you, Jack. So 46 million plus shares, basic outstanding right now, float in the market. We have 112 million fully diluted. So almost half of these shares are closed to the vest. So this thing is tightly held, okay? All the directors and the partners and us, board members, are locked up. This is a long-term play for us. Simple as that. Yeah, and then there's a ton of appendix here that people can look through of peer-reviewed entries, a white paper showing how this technology works. And that is it. Should I stop sharing now, Jack?
Yes.
All right.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. So I got the Hapbee signal going. And by the way, so one of the things, I mean, I guess the biggest thing is that people are saying, does it really work? Because it sounds too good to be true, right? Like, this is like, you basically, people's feelings. I mean, people, how do they change their feelings? They take some substance, they do something, they jump out of a plane. There's state, whatever to get into that state, right? This is the, okay. So I've actually seen, I've talked to people have used it, right? I've seen comments on some investor boards, investors who actually are using the product. And these are like legitimate guys. This is not like some, these are not paid reviews. These are like, real people. So it's definitely working. I think it could be. Now you're saying, if you have a return rate, I think we talked about there was like a 5 to 7% return rate, which any product is going to have. Especially, I think probably one of the things might be, and we talked about it before, is maybe because, like, for example, like guys like myself, I'm like a case in point. Like, I open the box and like, okay, I want it to work right. I don't want to like download. I want to just, because like I just want it to. I don't have patience. So I'm sure like probably out of those 5 or 7%, 90%, this is exactly what happened. Like they open the box and like, where's they don't plug it into the electric. They just, I guarantee you. I mean,
throw it on and like go. Yeah.
No,
you got to download the app and log in. You got to connect it. But once it's done, that's the thing is, I think you're right, Jack. Some people, they're going to wait and buy the product that doesn't need the phone. That one, you just click it on and it starts playing relax. It starts playing alert, and then you click it off.
You're going to have kind of like the idiot-proof product, right? Which I'd call, which is essentially it's plug and play immediately. Nothing to download, nothing to anything.
Yeah, think about this. I mean, hub and spoke. The hub is the app and the signals themselves, which we're constantly launching more. The spokes are all the different products that we can use the technology in. Yoga mats, massage beds, ski helmets, hats, clothing. We're looking at a bed form factor right now. This is the iPod. This is the ugly big iPod that Steve Jobs introduced 20-something years ago. So we are going to make things that are more user friendly for different demographics. Like you're not going to probably want the app one. You're going to want the one that clicks through 3 signals and turns.
Yeah. So I think the key point is that you're really a technology platform. So in other words, it's the core technology is going to be used in various different things, and again, to reach different demographics. Like, you might have these guys who are like, biohackers. They would love to play with the app and fine tune like whatever it is. They're going to fool around with this like until they get some optimized, thing. And then you have guys like me who just want to, hey, I push a button, that's it. I don't have to think about it. So here's what's interesting. So you mentioned a couple of, I want to talk about some of the comps in the space, because really you're kind of in a brand new, it's kind of like a brand new industry. I mean, what you're doing is completely
unique.
Nobody else is doing this basically. Yeah. But some sort of comps, you mentioned Oura Ring, you have the Calm app. The Calm app, what is that? And they have $1 billion market value right now?
The Calm app is an app that has Matthew McConaughey's voice and music and then sound like white noise to help people relax or stay calm or go to sleep at night, to the guy from Parks and Recreation, Ron Swanson's sexy, smooth voice. That app is worth $2 billion in their last round raise. This space is exploding. People are looking for ways to control their moods, to enhance mental wellness. This is one of the fastest growing. I cannot tell you how many famous people right now are jumping on the mental wellness train, the mental health space. Any recovering addict, anybody who's been stressed out and had a breakdown, this is their hope and their goal for all their customers. We have a lot of exciting partnerships because of that exact reason.
Okay, no, it's very interesting. So there's actually, the market, basically the market is saying, and this is, so Calm, it is a private company right now. So this is venture capital money. So these sophisticated players, they're valuing this thing at $2 billion. What are they? Do you know what they're doing in revenues? Do you know what their comps are approximately?
That's a really good question. Way less than that. I mean, I don't think they haven't broken 100 million. I don't think.
And it's not technology. It's not a technology at all. It's basically just a really
good app,
and it's music and voice essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, it looks like our homepage. You see how that ocean is, or that lake is moving, 4K video? That's a lot of what their app looks like. Take deep breaths, stay calm. Here's some meditation stuff. Headspace is exploding. And then there's another whole world here of direct stimulation market. So PEMF technologies, Muse, Halo Neuroscience, Apollo, Neorhythm, all these companies are basically shocking you or giving you a one frequency field that they think is going to help you feel relaxed or sleepy or more focused. Ours is unique because it's 24 million data points that come from a specific molecule that emulate that response. It's a whole nother way of approaching it. And we can have an infinite amount of signals that help you with moods and feelings, whereas these other companies kind of are done at one or a couple, right?
Okay, but I think from an investor standpoint, the takeaway is, okay, the market's valuing, Calm at, $1 billion plus, right?
Yeah.
You have the Oura Ring, which is doing, I don't know what the valuation, but they're doing what, 100 million sales or something like that?
Oh, not even close. I mean, I don't know that they're maybe at 30 million.
Okay.
Right now. Yeah.
Okay. Their valuation as well. I mean, like some of these companies have like massive, VC valuations.
Their last raise was at 114 million, and they're double that already.
Okay,
that was last year. Fast growth.
Okay, so they're valued at let's call it 10x revenues, basically in the private market. 8x, 10x revenues. There's probably 10x at this point. So okay, so it's very interesting. So right now you're basically your launch. You're in the market. Let's get into some audience questions here. So this is okay. So okay, so I think it's also important. The business model is, you have the immediate sale, which is $300, but you really make money on the recurring revenues, right? This $19 subscription. Okay, so this guy's at Campfire. Current number of monthly subscribers and forecasted growth per month.
Yep. So for us, it's more of getting our marketing cost per acquisition in line, and then we can go exponential. I mean, it would go 8x a month. Okay. That's all we care about right now, is getting our funnels, messaging, and marketing. We have thousands and thousands of people using the product, 80% subscription continuing, okay? That is not a number that's a number I want to hold at least and grow over time, okay? And that number is also tricky because multiple people buy it and use the same subscription for the family. So We have many people buy multiple products, 10% or at least 5 to 10%. I don't know the exact number, but are buying 2, 3 for the family or for their, we've had many businesses buy hundreds for their entire staff because it's the best gift investment they could give to their people. Their people are loving it. But we have multiple people using the same subscription login, just like Netflix, right? 4 or 5 people in a family use the same Netflix login. We're the same way. So if a couple buys 2 of these things, it's only 1 login for us that we're tracking for subscription. So those numbers are a little bit off, but you get the idea. It's sticky. People are still paying. All I care about is getting my cost per acquisition down below a number where I'm, if I'm under a couple $100 all in, then we can start exploding, 100,000 plus a month, more and more. We're just doing a couple thousand a week right now. Okay. So we're just learning and we're still getting referral sales. We're still getting affiliate sales. So I hope that answers the question, but to us, it's more about get our marketing in line, which we are at the precipice of over the last 5 months, and then we can just hockey stick it.
Yeah, I think basically with any of these, direct-to-consumer companies, whether it's whether it's like a Purple mattress, or there's a whole bunch of these. I mean, you can go through the whole list. There's a bunch of companies, and part of the main thing that everybody needs to really do is get that kind of marketing, the ROI thing dialed in. And once you have it dialed in, it's then becomes like a money machine. You just have to like maybe adjust it a little bit, but the main thing kind of just kind of needs to be dialed in. So let's kind of go through the numbers real quick, and then we'll go through some more questions here. So pretty much, if you have, let's call it, what's the sweet spot? Is it 100,000 users, monthly users, 50,000? What's the number where becomes serious business?
So
$1 billion, let's call it $1 billion business valuation.
$1 billion valuation comes when we're selling probably 15,000 to 20,000 a month.
Okay, so 15,000 units a month.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's my guess. If you just want to look at stock price to sales,
okay.
Now Christmas we sold like 600 in December in that month, or like the Thanksgiving Christmas timeline we sold 1,000 from Halloween through Christmas. So right now we're just testing, right? And that was over 65 different funnels and affiliates, and then we found our top 10. Now we're moving those into the next phase. We're about to increase spend there. We could spend more and sell another 1,000 in March, but I'd like to spend that money on 17 more initiatives that are going to tell me my cheapest CAC. So that's really what we're working on right now. But yeah, I don't know what's going to get us to $1 billion because there's so much with this technology that gets people excited. The bed form factor alone is getting us more traction. I mean, people are starting to realize what this thing actually is. It's not just a gimmicky product you buy off an e-commerce site and wear for a month and then lose it and throw it away. This is like a long-term play. That's why the app is so important, Jack. I want to have dozens and dozens of signals that you're paying 1 monthly fee for your whole family, and there's 8 different products that everybody's using, just like Apple does. That's the real vision. Yeah.
So it's interesting. I mean, again, the form factor. I mean, you don't know you don't really know at this point which is going to be the product that's going to be like the real game changer. I mean, like one of your things might be the thing that generates 90% of the revenues. It could be like the mattress thing. Could be something. It could be something 2 months down the road. Whatever. It's okay. So let's get into some.
One last thing I need to make sure everyone understands: there are 2 types of wearables. One type of wearable tells you information, and another type of wearable, which we are right now, gives you feelings and gives you a response. So like Oura Ring and Whoop and all these wearables like Fitbit, they give you info on your body. Those are off-the-shelf parts. And our plan, starting with the sleep form factor, is to track that data as well. Track movement, track blood flow, track heartbeats, track this stuff so that we can see how well you're sleeping when you're using our technology. So what would you rather have? A couple of pieces of hardware that teach you what's going on with your heart and stuff? Or would you like something that long-term can fix the problems there and help you feel better at the touch of a button and bring in that other technology with it? Because we're patented. We have IP protecting us through the nose. They can't do what we do, but we can do what they do. So long-term, our goal is to bring this all into one, and everyone else is kind of rolling out the red carpet for us right now.
No, so I mean, it's actually it's pretty interesting. The market cap, so you have the market cap is $100 million, so it's it seems like a good bet basically on something that could be worth a couple $1 billion based on the comps in the space. And this again, what the other thing is, this is a completely unique one. There's nothing else. It's like essentially a monopoly position.
Yeah, it's a category one right now.
It's creating a feeling instead of seeing what you. Okay, so here's a question: how do these signals interact with neurotransmitters such as dopamine, serotonin, and GABA?
That's a great question. So I can't get into too much there because of our license with the parent company. But what I can tell you is that right now we are working on signals in our labs that help people respond in similar ways to what those either hormones or stimulants or suppressants would do to your body. Okay, that's the best thing I can say right now. It's not necessarily having to do with neurotransmitters. It's maybe more having to do with receptor sites. For the person who asked that question, I would go down that path to understand more of our technology. If you want to see, go to hapbee.com/science. And you'll be able to see our white paper, our blinded placebo studies, the animal studies, and you'll see all the connections to our parent company and all the work that they're doing in their labs for the cancer world in the FDA. If you start going down that and understand what the technology does at the heart of it, you'll be able to understand clearly what's going on here with these non-covalent bonds in the body.
Okay, interesting. So we had a comment here earlier on. So Calm, we're talking about Calm. So Cameron is saying they had 150 million revenues, valuation billion plus. And again, but that is essentially just video. It's essentially it's a marketing thing. Basically, it's you have video, audio. Doesn't give you. So I think that actually creates it kind of paves the road for what the potential valuation of Hapbee can be once you get some traction. Speaking of which, now you announced a new marketing partnership. What is it? It was Kion. This is Ben Greenfield.
Just launched this morning. Yeah, we can talk about it.
Now, what is that all about?
So Kion is that's a supplement coffee company, but Ben Greenfield is sort of he's top fitness trainer in America, ranked, millions of followers. He's been using our product since Christmas. We have a lot of mutual connections with some of our investors and other people who follow him and know of his network and audience. And he just reached out and said, "This is awesome. I want to help you guys." So I will say this: he is the last I heard. Don't hold me to this. He was the top Oura Ring affiliate in the world.
Oh,
sold more Oura Rings than anybody else ever has. I don't know if that's true today. That was definitely true last year. But that is a huge thing to think about when it comes to movement in the market and credibility. So that's a stat that we kind of hang our hat on. And people like Ben and Dave Asprey, who has done an incredible job breaking us out to the world as well. These guys are in the biohacking, the fitness space, the functional health space. This is a good space for us.
Okay, yeah, no, there's a massive new market. So it's very exciting. Okay, let's see if we have some other questions here. It's okay. If someone likes to drink beer daily, tired from work, would that change their behavior if they put would that make them not drink beer and not?
So let me answer that, Mr. Patel. First of all, we cannot put alcohol in your body. However, in the last year and a half, I've saved about 50,000 calories of alcohol because I'll have one man feels like that many. Okay, many people have said the exact same thing. You can do this instead of, we have a lot of people, especially people in recovery or people that want to cut back and save, they don't want to have that be something that they use. So they don't drink alcohol, they use Hapbee. Some people like me, I cut back and I use Hapbee to supplement. Other people, think of them like the fun crowd, they just like to double the fun. And no judgment, do whatever you want to do. Just our goal is, please, whatever you do, be healthy and be safe. That's the core of mental wellness. Okay, Hapbee is like a tool in the tool belt. Good sleep, good eating, good exercise, Hapbee. Like it's a really good tool for people.
Okay. Let's see here. We got am I getting that? Actually, does it go? Yeah, I think I started, it's funny. I got this last week, right? Now again, I got the box and I didn't set up the app because I hate using that, like I didn't want to I don't use any apps, right? Like I don't know how to get into my phone. Okay, so I finally I got the thing set up. I think it takes, now you told me it's like a subtle, it starts off as a subtle thing. I think there's like a subtle I definitely, I could put it this way. I didn't really get a lot of sleep last night. Like I was something, like the last couple of, there's something definitely, there's a subtle thing. I mean, I don't know if you use it more, you're going to get, it kicks in more, or how does it work? Because I noticed there's definitely something.
And you were on alert first, right? This morning?
And what is it? The
energy? Yeah, that's alert.
Energy. And then I did, which one did I do?
I think Happy, right?
I think I got the Happy on right now. Yeah, I got the Happy, yeah.
So Happy, the one you're on right now, I mean, you guys in the chat room, you should. I haven't seen Jack on 1,000 of these. You should tell me what he's like.
I'm in the Happy. I got 5 minutes left on Happy. But but does it take a while to like? Because again, I think did we talk about this? Or somebody was like, if you smoke, like apparently, like if you smoke pot once, it doesn't work. You got to smoke it a couple times before all of a sudden you're into it. Like I've smoked, I never did anything for me. Like so, I was, I just, maybe I didn't smoke it enough. I don't know.
Well, you're on, subtle build is probably the best way to describe this for most people. 10 to 20% of people, it's super fast, like within a minute, a couple minutes. Some 10 to 20% of people are on the low feel end, where it takes them forever. And like my head coder, it took him 30 tries to get relaxed. And now he's like, loves it, uses it every day. So some people, it just takes a while to build those pathways in your brain. I mean, it's the first time your brain is like experiencing these things in this way. So sometimes there's this like block where the brain's like, wait a minute, I didn't put anything in my body. What's going on? And so we have a 10-day onboarding training. And all that is basically, hey, use it each day for at least 30 minutes of a couple signals, and then you're good to go. Drink water, make sure that you're in a safe place. 10 days, most every single person is like, okay, yep, now I'm good. I see it, I feel it, I experience it. My first time playing Happy, it took 18 minutes. Okay, and then I started to get the first sensation. Now it's like 2 or 3 minutes and I can experience it stronger. You just got to build those pathways.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, but the thing is this: like you have like right now at this point thousands of users. You have like some pretty serious people involved with the company. I mean, I think if it didn't work, you wouldn't be in business today. Like this is at this point it's been proven in the marketplace.
Well, and you got to remember, we didn't launch with like the ace. You don't want to launch with a signal that might be unsafe or something. So there's a lot of testing that's going on in the background for stronger signals. So there's signal optimization programs going on. There's 18 more signals in the labs. I have personally tried signals that are going to be fun, but those are coming out soon. We did not want to try to go crazy at the beginning because we wanted to make sure people had a good base level. Base level is good for this technology to start. And so the signals people use are pleasant. They can be subtle, they can be strong, but most people have said, yep, this is a nice subtle build. It's just like if you had a drink with me. If you and I had a beer or two at the bar, you're not drunk. You're not, you're not gone. In fact, you're probably fine. You got a little loose, and that's good. That's a good thing. So we kept things easy to start.
Yeah. So again, it's interesting, right? Essentially, you're kind of at the point where the marketing is getting dialed in. You're gonna have multiple products. The product is getting also dialed. So there's a lot of catalysts. There's a lot of positive catalysts in place right now. Here's a question. Now, are you looking for a CEO to replace you? I know there's a question here. You put out an announcement. What's the deal with that?
Yeah. So I am a founder. I've done this with multiple companies, and all I want to do is innovate the product and then evangelize the product. That is very difficult to do when you're spending 30-something hours a week doing bureaucracy and audits and pubco work. We need an experienced world-class exec to come in and do a lot of that stuff, kind of that day-to-day, so that I can literally just focus on product. So I'm still going to be an executive of the company. I'm still going to be running a lot of stuff. I just would rather spend all of my time on all the new form factors, on all the tech, on all the app, and then sharing the story. Because right now my calendar's booked out. Like, you can't really do much with me. That doesn't work well for someone who's trying to share the story to the world and build an amazing technology. I mean, Elon Musk is one of our network friends. His partner, Peter Diamandis, is a user of Hapbee in XPRIZE and Singularity. The best thing Elon ever told us was, forget marketing, build product. If you solve a problem in your product, your company goes up 10x every single time, I guarantee it. So spend your time and spend your resources on fixing issues and exponentially innovating your technology. You'll never have to worry about marketing ever again. And we're starting to see that. And that's been my drive since the get-go. So if I can make the product stronger, the app, the experience, the better teams for that to fix these issues, people start referring faster. They would start buying more at a time. They start subscribing at a higher percentage. Like, those things are where I am really, really good. And then talking to people like you in your market about the story of how this got to be here. That's what everybody really just needs to know, is like, how the heck did this happen? Other than that, don't ask me to do an hour audit like meeting.
So you've done this before. Like, I noticed you, like, one of the companies that you now own, which was this the school, which is like, you got like what, 500 employees. It's a national. Okay, so essentially what you're going to bring in is somebody who's going to focus really on the operations, the day to day, and what's going to be your official role at that point? Are you going to be the chairman? VP of human happiness or something?
It'll be like a founder role, product and marketing, just fixing, building. I've got 6 more partnerships of new form factors that are sitting in a drawer that I'm the best in the world at bringing to life. Like, that needs to be me. And I am way more about who, not how. I don't care about titles. I care about valuation, and I care about helping millions and millions of people do this. And I just want to free up half of my life back to be able to literally do that stuff. So yeah, I mean, just like when Apple got a big guy, Pepsi guy came in and ran it instead of Steve Jobs, when PayPal had Elon vacate the CEO role to bring in another person to run the day-to-day stuff. That's what I need to be doing.
Okay.
It's the best thing for the business. And everyone agrees. Our whole board agrees. It's not a bad thing. Everyone sees it as a huge opportunity for us.
Okay, because originally you came into Hapbee really as an investor. That's how you got involved with this, pretty much. It wasn't like you didn't come into it to run a business. Yeah, no, I invested in the parent company Emulate in 2008, I think, 2009. A lot of money to help them out. And I've been building my other businesses ever since. And then in end of 2018, early 2019, this opportunity came about to launch the consumer side of the business. And so that's when I launched the new business to license the technology. And the parent company, the CEO of the parent company, Chris, is our board chair. So, we're pretty tight at the hip. But my goal was to get this thing off the ground, get it created, and then bring in, a very experienced world-class director so that I can keep building the technology and innovating it. Okay. Now, so Peter Diamandis, the XPRIZE guy, what's his official role with Hapbee is what? He's like... There's no official role. It's nothing public that we can talk about. He's just a network friend. I'm in several networks with him. He's used this. He actually shipped one to Tony Robbins as well. Tony Robbins got our first XL size hat, our headband, because he's such a giant head. But anyway, so yeah, Peter's just a friend. He knows the tech. He uses it. He's got to get Elon to wear one, because then we got people saying the stock is going to shoot to 100. I mean, yeah. Well, let's save that for a couple more signals we're working on. I've got a plan in place, please. Okay. So Scott, on that note, what do you have in the pipeline? Let's wrap up. What do you have coming up in the next? What kind of news flow should we look for in the next couple of weeks? Biggest ones are first new signal. Signal number 7 is our first platform signal that's going to be launched into the app. We cannot announce publicly which one that is, but we're very excited about it. It actually might be a stream of a couple coming pretty quickly. That's coming out hopefully in March. There's a lot of buzz about that in our community.
We also have some major marketing partnerships that we're going to be able to announce, and things that are in the works there. And again, we're just driving down this line of new form factors and new partnerships. So partnerships for marketing, partnerships for product. Those are the two things that I'm working on day to day. We also had our patent provisional for the bed that just got sent in, I think, last week. And so we're working with Perkins Coie. If any lawyers in the audience know them, they're the best IP in the world, and they're directly connected with our team. So there's a bunch of stuff coming down the pipe. And then, you know, obviously later this next quarter, we'll be ratcheting up our spend and increasing affiliate marketing as well as conversions on the funnel.
Okay, excellent. So bottom line is inflection point is here. Scott, we look forward to hearing more from you let's say in about 2 weeks. We'll revisit you again, hopefully with a major news announcement.
Sounds great.
Thank you everybody for joining our live stream today, and we'll see you on the next one.